All right, what's popping? Good morning. Uncle P is back with another episode of Sunday Service. Appreciate y'all for joining me. I didn't do a show last week because I put some other content out about like basketball and shit, playoff predictions, that kind of stuff. So I didn't want to like bombard y'all all in the same day with content because, as you know, well, as I know, I'm still building up, my followers, reach, my listeners, that kind of thing. So just try to continue to build and grow. Thank you to everybody that's supporting, watching this joint. Every Sunday, I try to give y'all some insightful, thought-provoking conversation. I try not to really get into like I almost say I don't get into it, but like some low-hanging fruit topics just don't really do it for me. But I do have some today that's like, hard to ignore. One obviously being Shadeur Sanders sliding in the draft, and then another one obviously being this nigga Shannon Sharpe. So we just gonna get right into it. Let me just pull up something here. Cause I like to have fun. I like to use ChatGPT for like a quick, I like to get a quick synopsis of certain things. I won't really have to do it with the Shadeur thing because I've been paying attention to that for a while. So the Shadeur thing. So he slides in the draft, all year, all season, especially after the season he had. Once the season ended, all anyone could talk about was Shadeur being drafted. Obviously, Travis Hunter. Obviously, you got Abdul Carter. Obviously, you got like your blue chippers. Those are like the only two real blue chippers. Blue chippers are people they're going to work regardless. Don't matter what team they go to, they're going to work. But outside of those two, the one thing that kept getting talked about a lot was just how weak this quarterback draft class was. And even like during the year and shit like that, you see names like Quinn Ewers, Cam Ward, who the fuck else? There was another quarterback, Carson Beck, names like that, Dylan Gabriel. I've just heard of the guy Tyler Shaw from Louisville, but I say all that to say, during the year, nobody was talking about any other quarterbacks. It was Shadeur and Cam Ward, but like even during the season, like I remember niggas not really talking. Well, niggas talked about Cam Ward, but we all knew Shadeur was better or more promising. Granted, Cam had like a higher upside, but Shadeur has a higher floor. So like when you got a higher floor, it basically means, for those who don't know, it basically means that your bad games aren't going to look awful. They're just going to look like okay. Like high floor basically means like you'll never really look that bad, but you'll never really like reach, peak like ceiling like Pat Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. Like those are guys with like high ceilings where it's like I thought Lamar was great in 2019. What he just did in 2024 was like, what the fuck? And when you got a high ceiling, it's like, it's endless. Like Lamar fuck around be better next year type shit. So Shadeur, he didn't have that much of a high ceiling, didn't have that much of a big arm, wasn't that mobile, but we all knew that he was accurate. He could throw the football. He could read coverages, different shit like that. And he was tough as nails. Cam Ward, I can speak for me. I like Cam Ward, but like he's like, I can easily see a nigga like Cam Ward failing in the league, especially when you go to like a poor franchise and shit. Oh, Kyle McCord, I don't even know if he got drafted, but what was I about to say? See, like Cam Ward, I feel like I see dudes like Cam Ward all the time. But the only difference is he had a grind. Like he played a lot of football, so he could work if he's coachable and if like the franchise is doing the right thing. But like when I see Cam Ward, rocket arm, mobile QB, it's like I see, granted he's better than these two players I'm about to name, but it's like once you get to the NFL, anything can happen. Like, I think Anthony Richardson and Jalen Milroe, like niggas with like insane measurables, insane athleticism, huge arms, but they just never really translate into being a good NFL quarterback. Because to me, in order to be like a really good NFL quarterback, like I feel like all that other shit is secondary. If you're not accurate, if you can't throw people open, if you can't read coverages, and if you can't, if you can't manipulate the pocket, like if you're in the pocket and every time you get pressure, you're just getting flushed out. Like, I don't know. Like I see a lot of like when I watch Cam Moore, I see a lot of like freestyling. I see a lot of, don't get me wrong, Shadeur does it too, but I see a whole lot of like just, he just reminds me of like Johnny Manziel, and we all know how that worked out. But it was like during the year, the more football that was being played, Shadeur was talked about as at least QB2, but for the most part, everything I've seen, he was talked about like QB1, And it seems like once the college football season ended, and the further we got away from actual games being played, it feels like Shadeur started to like slip, whether that be due to, how he carries it. We all know as black men, like you carry it a certain way. It's going to be a particular demographic that really ain't feeling it, no matter what industry you in, no matter where you work. Like my job, I know when I walk into that joint or certain parts of the building, certain faces I don't see all the time, I'm going to be looked at a certain way. Just very, very, very subtle. But, you got like the media, you got his dad, you got maybe people don't like the way he carry it. But it seems like the further we got away from actually playing the game, like when games were played, Shadeur was pretty much the best quarterback in college football. He probably didn't have the biggest upside, but like as far as like production, scoring, winning games for the most part, because all of that is a part of it. Like Will Howard won a lot of games at Ohio State, but we all know that that's largely due to the weapons around him and the system he's in, the coach. Like these are things that can help a quarterback be good. Where he went to Colorado, it's his second year. The year before he got there, I think they won one game, if that. So then the following year he got there, they doubled that. I think they got like 4 or 5 wins, not a lot. And then next year they were ranked for this year that just passed. They were ranked for most of the season, winning record, played in a lot of big games, won a lot of big games, in a lot of clutch games. And the one thing I liked about Shadeur was, so Colorado didn't have like this crazy NIL budget like Ohio State or UCLA or USC. So like their recruiting class is not that talented. So in college sports where like the talent is so spread out all over it because there's so many teams, if you have a big NIL budget and you can get like a bunch of and if you can get a lot of talent, you can dominate. Like if you watched Ohio State, they would dominate. Alabama for all those years, they would dominate. Whereas Colorado, if they won a game, they weren't able to dominate. Colorado, if they won a game, it was by 3 points, a touchdown, 4 points, the last drives. Like, so I say all that to say, like Shadeur, every game that he was in, he pretty much had to win the game. Their defense they did not win a game from defense this year. Like, I don't think they've held anyone under 30 points or 27 points at all this year. So, like, he had to go out there and, actually play. Now, he had Travis Hunter, cool, but it's football. Two people just can't win it, like, by themselves. So, the further we got away from football, Shadeur's, I'm hearing, you just hear things like, no one's really sure. Like, we watch the draft every year. They say, you'll hear people say, like, I have him as a third-round quarterback, or he's like the 7th quarterback on my board, or this and that. And then I hear these things, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, we get to March, and I just keep hearing how Cam Ward is better because of all the tools and stuff like that, which is fine. But it's like, when we were playing actual games, Shadeur was clearly better than him. Like, so Cam got a lot of hot dog in him, a lot of and just running around. Right, he got a lot of recklessness to him. Like, Shadeur's red flag for me is him taking sacks, but I don't know. I just feel like that can be fixed, or I don't know. I just don't feel like that's the end of the world. I feel like that shit Cam Moore does is like you can't coach that out of somebody. Like, so I don't think Shadeur fell for one particular reason. I'm not going to cry racism. I think that's lazy. Not only am I too smart to just lean on that, y'all are too smart to just lean on that. Like, I'm not saying it's not just racism. Racism can be a part of it for some teams, some general managers, not for every single one. It's not that black and white because a lot of Cam Ward, he went 1 overall, he's black. Some would say, oh, he only went first because he played the game and he allowed them to humble him, and Shadeur wasn't humbling himself. They don't know how to act when you young and you already rich. You don't necessarily need their money. All of that is cool, but if you want to be a part of something bigger than yourself, and if it requires you to play the game, some people can stomach that, some people can't. That's all I'm going to say on that. I'm not going to say what you should or shouldn't do. So I don't think he fell because of one particular thing. I think he fell for a few reasons. I think he fell because, his dad did a lot of talking, saying who he wasn't going to play for and shit like that. And when you look at the NFL landscape, it was only about 7 teams that really needed a quarterback, 5 that really needed like a starting quarterback, maybe 4 or 5 that really needed like a starting quarterback. That's one. 2, you got the aspect of, all right, so like a lot of guys in the NFL don't really work out, not because of talent or skill or anything like that. A lot of times niggas don't work out at the highest level because they just don't work hard. They don't get better. They have poor work ethic. And I could see a lot of GMs and coaches, probably assuming like they see Shadeur at his fucking draft day, John. He got this big ass chain on. It's real. He's at his compound in Texas. It's his home. You see other draft picks. Yeah, they wearing jewelry. Could be fake. They renting out Airbnbs. They got their whole family with them. No cameramen for real outside of the ones NFL Network and ESPN sent out. Like, it's not I think they see Shadeur and they see someone. People are intimidated when you don't necessarily need them. Like, Shadeur wants to be in the NFL. He doesn't need to be in the NFL. And when I say needed, I mean, like, he doesn't need the money. Like, he can stream, make music, whatever the fuck, start a business, sell real estate. He can do all of that just because of the life his dad provided for him. But he chose to play football. He chose to go out there and get his bell rung every single time. When I think a lot of people who grew up with the amount of money he has, I don't think they'd be playing no fucking football. So I think a lot of owners, coaches, and GMs, they see that, and optically they're just like, once we get him in our building, he's already expecting to go top 5. Deion saying he's going to go top 5, So like I said, a lot of times dudes don't work out because they just don't work hard. Like, some people, they get to the league and that's enough for them. Maybe they thought like just making it to the league would be enough for them, like just to say he did it. His dad's already a Hall of Famer. He had a nice college career, so say he would have went top 5, started the next season. Who knows where his head would be at? I don't care. I'm just trying to get y'all like some insights how other people may think, because I know a lot of y'all don't really give a fuck how other people think when y'all trying to make a point, but y'all got to consider what people are talking about and thinking about. And then another reason why, all right, so let's get that out the way. That's why I think he fell from out of like the first, second round. Once you get to like the 3rd, 4th, 5th round, that's backup territory. And I think once you got to the 3rd and 4th, he really started to slip, because it's like, all right, I can bring him in as a backup, but it's like, who the fuck wants a celebrity backup? Like, they already on TikTok saying don't buy any Shadeur merch from the NFL website. Buy all of his custom merch from his website. You see what I'm saying? Like, if he was a backup and he got drafted, teams would be like, bro, this is a fucking distraction. Like, y'all asking my starting quarterback about the backup that's not even better than the starting quarterback yet. Like, just little things like that where the media can like almost exploit you. Like the media sets all this shit up, man. So yeah, I think it's a culmination of him just, a lot of teams not needing a starting quarterback, only really being like 7 teams. Then teams not wanting the celebrity backup as a distraction. And then I think he had a bad draft process, but like a lot of y'all can say, man, that shouldn't matter. That shouldn't matter. Like sports is a meritocracy. You get the best player available. NFL is different. NFL is different, man. A lot of times you can get the best player available, but when it comes to quarterback, I kind of get it. I mean, like, I wanted Shadeur to get drafted early, but I kind of get it. Like, these quarterbacks, they got to be, like, PC. They got to be, like, these niggas damn near got to be the president. Like, they can't just go out there and just do whatever, say whatever, act however. And I think they just wanted to humble him a little bit. I mean, like, he took it in stride. He didn't just get drafted and, be like, all right, whatever, I guess I'll come play. He's excited. He's ready to come work. And I think a bright side about this is he's in a bad quarterback room. Deshaun Watson already tore his ACL. He's done for the year. Kenny Pickett is basura, trash. That's 2 quarterbacks done. So now you got a 3-quarterback QB room. You got Flacco. He was there before. Took him to the playoffs, lost the playoff game, whatever, went to the Colts, went back and forth, starting with Anthony Richardson on the Colts. That was bad. And then he came back. So I think he can beat out Flacco, especially in camp. And then you got Dylan Gabriel. During the whole season, like I said, going back to actual games being played, pigskin in your hand, toss and pill. When they get in camp, they're going to see Dylan Gabriel and they're going to see Shadeur Sanders. Now, unless Dylan Gabriel does something that I'm not aware of, like maybe his whiteboard skills is good. Maybe he's like, they say above the neck, between the ears. Maybe he's like elite there, but I don't know. I think Shadeur can beat all these niggas out by like fucking, I think Shadeur can beat all these motherfuckers out by like, by like halfway through camp. Now, the Browns are a stupid organization. They fuck around. He can fuck around, be the best quarterback in camp, and they'll still trot Flacco out there just because. I don't know. But I do think he can beat out all the quarterbacks in that room. I think the owners wanted him, and I think the head coach wanted him, or the head coach is fine with it. It's just speculation because how do you take quarterback in the 4th round? How do you take Dylan Gabriel in the 4th round and then take Shadeur Sanders in the 5th round, and then your presser, you say you believe in taking the best player available and you didn't think Shadeur would be available in the 5th round? Well, brother, he was available in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th round, and you've had multiple picks all throughout all of those rounds. So that was like kind of contradictory, again, saying we believe in taking the best player available and we didn't believe Shadeur would be available into the 5th round. So you weren't willing to spend a 2nd, 3rd, or 4th round draft pick on him, but you were for a 5th, but you took a quarterback in the 4th. I don't know. It's weird. And it's like the Browns had an opportunity because they had the 2nd pick and they traded up, or they traded down and gave that pick to Jacksonville, and Jacksonville drafted Travis Hunter. The Browns had an opportunity to pair Travis Hunter and Shadeur Sanders. They could have drafted Travis Hunter at 2. I think they had another pick in the top, or in the 1st round, I think they had another pick. So they could have drafted Travis Hunter at 2 and finagled something and got Shadeur Sanders, especially knowing what we know now and nobody wanting them. They could have got Shadeur Sanders at any point in the draft after obtaining Travis Hunter. So that's weird. So, yeah, man, long process. I'm just happy he got drafted. I really believe in Shadeur. I believe in quarterbacks that are accurate. I believe in quarterbacks that can throw people open with anticipation. I don't know. I just really believe in his skills, In other news, Shiloh did go undrafted. He signed to Tampa Bay, and then Jimmy Horn signed to Carolina in the 6th round. Love Jimmy Horn. I don't know why. It just feels like after Shadeur got drafted, all these Colorado players got drafted. So I don't know, man. Shit looks funny, but I say all that to say sometimes you got to play the game But if you play the game, you make out good, set yourself up so you can get them folks your ass to kiss later, man. If that's in you. Everybody ain't got it in them. Everybody don't got it in them to play the game. Everybody don't got it in them to play the game and to then take the mask off once they get what they want. So, moving on to the next topic. Just 2 topics today. We talk about Shannon Sharpe. Dog, I don't even know where to start with this nigga, man. I mean, that's why I be pulling out ChatGPT sometimes. So I want to just see what they say. So I'm going to ask them, what happened with Shannon Sharpe this past month? Let's see what they say. They might say something about his volume contract. Sharpe is facing a $50 million civil lawsuit filed in Nevada by a woman referred to as Jane Doe, an OnlyFans freak. She alleged that Sharpe sexually assaulted her multiple times between 2024 and 2025. She described it as year-long abusive relationships. She claims Sharpe engaged in a pattern of manipulation, abuse, threats, including recording and distributing sexual activity without consent. So that's like porn, revenge porn. Shannon denied all these allegations, calling them false in an attempt at a blackmail. His legal team asserts he looks forward to defending himself in court. So where do I want to start? Oh, he released a recorded video statement on his social media calling the allegations a shakedown from Tony Busby. ESPN's involvement. Sharpe's recent hiring by ESPN has come under scrutiny in light of the lawsuit. Critics question the network's decision to offer him a $6.5 million annual salary, given the serious nature of the allegations and his past controversies. So apparently, he got a lot of shit swept under the rug when he worked for CBS and Fox. There was a woman who, let me see what happened in 2011. Out of all that loads, I'm going to say I see a lot of people talking about, the joint he be fucking with and, what she looked like, what he could have got instead, how he was talking to her. And all I'm going to say is I don't care about how the bitch looks. I get it. I get it. That's all I'm going to say is I get it. Everybody got different kinks. And we don't know. Like Shannon, I always tell people I don't have a type. So you might see me with one girl, and not now. I have a girlfriend, but you might see me with a girl, and you might think oh, that's my type, and then you might see me with another girl. You're like, wait, what the fuck? I don't think I have a type. We don't know. Shannon could not have a type either. It loaded. In 2010, Shannon Sharpe faced allegations from a woman later identified as Michelle Bundy, who accused him of sexual assault and threats to her life. She filed a temporary restraining order in Fulton County, Georgia, claiming that Sharpe had forced her to have sex and had been conducting surveillance on her. Sharpe denied the allegations, and the restraining order was voluntarily dismissed by Bundy shortly after it was filed. Sharpe took a brief leave from his role as an analyst for CBS Sports during the proceedings, but returned to work once the matter was resolved. This is 2010, by the way. It's important to note that no criminal charges were filed against Sharpe in connection with this incident. The case did not result in any legal action beyond dismissed restraining order. So, same thing here. No criminal lawsuit, which you get on Twitter and the internet, people be like, that doesn't matter. It absolutely matters. When you start talking about these heinous crimes and acts like rape and surveillance and all this other stuff, why wouldn't you file? Listen, man, y'all not going to bully me on the internet into thinking I'm victim blaming by saying, why not file criminal charges? Can you not do both? Because when I hear civil, first thing I think about is, okay, you just want some money. which is fine. I get that for sure. But you don't want to see this nigga in jail. You just want to get money from him. If he's that much of a threat, why wouldn't you want him behind bars? Anyway, so like I said, I don't really care how the girl look because I get it. Everybody got their own king, but Shannon does strike me as a bit of a old school, low self-esteem, country bumpkin kind of nigga, you know. So I can see him getting with that white girl and feeling like he getting some get back when he start tossing her around and she talking about baby gravy and putting black babies in her, and you know, like people went too far talking about they was doing like slave kink role play. I don't think it was that per se, but it was like a little bit of race role play. Some niggas into that. I don't kink shame. That's not my bag. But I don't know. He gives me low self-esteem, country bumpkin mentality. Like he gives me like he had a lot of trauma growing up, couldn't really get all the girls. And it's crazy because Shannon strikes as a nigga who probably could get, like, for the large part, black girls, but I don't think he wanted them like that. And when you're playing football, going to college, trying to make it to the league, you're in a lot of white circles, trainers, coaches, trainers' daughters, trainers' families, owners, staff. All these people are white adjacent, a lot of white people involved. You're really only around black people when you're on the field with your teammates. And who knows, man? Maybe once he started to like come into his own, I could see a situation where he started coming to his own while white women started to flock towards him, and that's probably been his thing ever since. I don't know. I got a few questions. I'm gonna just run through my notes. I want to know how these girls get in contact with Tony Busby. Like if I live in Philadelphia, how do I call him? Do I write him? Like, how does this work? Like, or do I gotta like write him? And depending on the celebrity name, it gets filtered through by whoever's looking at the shit, and they're like, "Oh, we got one." Like, because why is it always this nigga? My next question is, like I said, Shannon's sex life isn't my concern of consensual. Black Twitter's only making a big deal out of it because she's a white woman. And you really can't win with Black Twitter because since she's a white woman, they damn near think Shannon deserves everything that's happening to him. I don't think he deserved false rape allegations if, in fact, he is innocent just because he slept with a white woman and she asked to have his black babies. I don't think that warrants all of this if, in fact, he's innocent. But if this was a black woman, they would also be clamoring for him to be under the jail, and rightfully so. But like I said, so it's no winning here. The only way you can win is by, not being involved in these kind of things, being a good person. But that's easier said than done. I'm sure we've all been accused of something on a smaller scale, or we've all been pretty sure we've all been accused of something that we didn't do. Not on that scale, not to that level, but at some point, and you kind of want people to believe you or whatever. But another question I have here. The real issue though with Shannon and why I don't think he'll be back at ESPN per se. One, because there's so many more accusations coming out. But one thing I'm noticing is sexual assault, all of that is speculative and shit like that. But one thing that is for a fact that even he hasn't denied, or his lawyer or anybody like that, is he's showing a pattern of aggressive behavior. And that doesn't bode well in corporate America, especially when you're a big black man who clearly can play the game right and shit like that. So, let's just say Shannon is somebody who can, work his way up through the ranks of networks and shit like that, and he could just hone in more power. And if he's, aggressive, if you're already an aggressive individual and you have power over people, who's to say you won't, implement some of that aggression or use that some aggression to get something you want, knowing you already have intangible power, but you also have tangible power because you're a big, strong man. And a lot of people in corporate America, they just don't like that. A lot of people don't like confrontation, any of that kind of stuff. So at minimum, he is showing a pattern of violent behavior. So that's why I don't think he'll return to ESPN, because ESPN is Disney. But we'll see. He said he stepped down so they couldn't fire him, but we'll see. So I think he's guilty of something, but it might not be rape. And a final note, two notes. So he tried to get a nuisance settlement, $10 million. So that lets me know Shannon was looking at like a fucking crazy bag. Like, they say he was in talks of like trying to negotiate like $100 million deal. That was like a week before all these lawsuits came out. And I think he was trying to get ahead of it by trying to settle with $10 million. Now it says he only makes $6.5 million at ESPN. So if he's willing to pay someone $10 million up front for a settlement lawsuit, amongst whatever he's already given his lawyers, that lets me know that he's looking at all of this. He's looking at the bigger picture. Like, all right, if I can pay for this to go away, I'll be worth $250 million before I'm 65. Like, so I don't know, man. Shannon was really looking at some big dollars, man. I can't believe this shit happened to him. I fuck with Shannon. I definitely fuck with him. As y'all see, I'm in the media space now, trying to do my own thing. I don't know, man. That shit kind of threw me off because I always thought Shannon was like, I thought he was better. And Stephen A. Smith had this whole like media thing. Didn't really care for the low-hanging fruit conversations on Club Shay Shay outside of Cat Williams. Nightcap was interesting. I don't know. I'm able to acknowledge him shaking and moving in the media space. I think he was trying to be like the male Gayle King, but like through his own platform, which is my final note. Is the bright side here is he has his own platform. He owns it. He's already built up a ton of equity there. He has a lot of supporters, followers, subscribers, things like that. And all of that is good to have when you're only facing civil lawsuits. Because for one, he's able to still work and generate money to pay off some of these lawsuits if he's found guilty or if he just has to pay lawyers. Another reason why it's a good thing he owns his own platform, because with just ESPN and nobody wants him again, he can still continue to do all of this and still grow it, you know. People do have their picks. Canceling somebody is not real. People will still support Shannon, especially men. And that was his target demographic anyway. I think people like, once you get into like that music industry, film, once you get into that space and you have these kind of accusations, it's a little bit different because the people who support you, the people who pay money to see you, the people who are responsible for your success, it's largely split up amongst a bunch of different demographics. But when it comes to sports, for the most part, it's straight men. And unfortunately, a lot of straight men don't really care about these kinds of accusations, especially if there's no criminal complaint, especially if there's no jail time being served, like shit like that. A lot of people still listen to R. Kelly. So it's a good thing he has his own platform. He owns it, keep working, generate money for legal fees. And on top of that, you know, like, say he did just only work for ESPN and they sideline him and say they sideline him for months. Not only can he pay legal fees, but he just looks guilty because he's not, like, optics are so important in perception. That's why Shannon did the things he did to try to get ahead of it with the video and shit like that. It's because, like, people who are innocent, they don't go hide. They don't go really lay low. They keep working. Like, if you're innocent, you're going to keep working unless it's fucking with you. But if he was just working for ESPN and this happened and they just, sideline him for 4, 6, 8, 10 months, we would all look up and like, oh, he must have did that shit. But since you go on his Twitter page or Instagram right now, he's still doing shows. So some people are going to be like, I don't think he did it. And some people just not going to care he did it because he's still giving them, classic work, classic content, Same reason why a lot of people still listen to R. Kelly, Chris Brown. It's like the music is really good. So that's all I got to say about Shadeur and Shannon. I want to appreciate y'all for tapping in. The show will be back next Sunday. Got a bright future ahead. Looking to do some things for Sunday. Not Sunday, in the summer. I'm looking to do some more things. Probably go live on YouTube. Probably have a better setup, better camera. So just keep rocking with me, man. We growing, man. I want y'all to grow with me. Pause. So I'm out.